Good morning, dear friends. Are the translation systems working? Can you hear? Everything is going well? All the languages? I'm going to begin by speaking to our young friends, all of you. I brought with me a little bag, and in the bag are 4 pebbles. Can you guess what that will mean? Any idea? 4 pebbles?
La fleur, la montagne, l'espace et l'eau.
Okay, so you understand what each pebble will say to us, how we should practice. 4 pebbles in a bag usually mean we can do pebble meditation. Have any of you done pebble meditation? Oh, yes, wonderful. So the children's program has given you the joy and happiness of being with 4 lovely pebbles. I found these pebbles in New Hamlet, but we have pebbles everywhere in Plum Village. All we have to do is walk mindfully and look for pebbles. We know the first pebble represents a flower. So I looked for a pebble that reminded me of a flower. It has a little bit of a pink color flower, like the roses and the lotuses flower. When we do pebble meditation, we pick up a pebble and we put it in our hand. And then we rest that hand on top of the other hand. And then we breathe in and out 3 times. Breathing in, I see myself as a flower. I feel like a flower. Very fresh, very new. Have you visited the lotus flowers in the morning? Do you see that the lotus flowers are very fresh and fragrant? Also, you can look at the roses. They have little dewdrops in them. So when I see myself as a flower, I feel just like a flower, fresh and new, in the fresh morning air. Breathe in and out 3 times. So this is what makes it a meditation, that I'm breathing in and out, and I really feel like a flower. Okay? If you're doing this meditation at home or with friends at school, you can have a little bell. And after 3 breaths, the bell master will invite the bell. But you don't have to have a bell. So when we're finished with the flower fresh, we put that pebble down. Then we pick up the other pebble. This pebble looked like a mountain to me, taller than the flower. And it has a little bit of the color of some mountains. You know, mountains are made from the earth but they also have rocks and granite, a gray color. Okay, this is the mountain. I put it in my hand, and I rest this hand on the other hand, and I breathe in and out, and I say, breathing in, I feel like a mountain. When you see a mountain, what do you think? The mountain is solid, very stable. They stay in one place, a mountain will stay there, solid and stable. Breathing in, I see myself as a solid mountain. Breathing out, I feel stable. Mountain, solid. That means when I'm solid and stable, I don't get upset very easily. Okay? I'm solid. Breathing in and out 3 times. I'm solid like a mountain. People can say anything to me and I smile because I'm solid. Okay, mountain solid. We breathe 3 times, feeling like a mountain. Okay? Wonderful. It's nice to feel stable and solid and to rest in one place. Okay? Now we pick up another pebble. Anybody know what the next pebble is? Yes? What's the next pebble? L'eau. And that's water, right? And what does water do when it's calm? It reflects, yes? It reflects the clouds in the sky or the trees, yes? It reflects everything that is. So now I pick up the pebble, that is water. And I looked for a pebble that reminded me of water. At the beach, when we go to the beach, sometimes we see the sand has little markings when the water goes back to the ocean, when the waves go back. So I found a pebble that looked like water. We pick up the water pebble, we put it in our hand. Breathing in, I feel like calm water. Breathing out, I reflect everything that is. I'm reflecting whatever is above me in the sky, right? I reflect the clouds and the trees and the birds flying by. And you know the water is still there at nighttime. So I can reflect the light of the moon, the stars, everything. But to reflect, the surface, the top of the water needs to be calm. So if I want to be like reflecting water, I want to be able to calm my mind. So my mind is calm and clear. How do I do that? Anybody know? How can I make my mind calm and clear? Yes? By breathing, yes. Do you all agree? Everybody agrees? We can make ourselves calm so we can see more clearly. And that's wonderful when we can see clearly what's happening. Because when we see clearly what's happening, we understand. And when we understand, something wonderful is possible. We can love. So then we can love and appreciate more with understanding. Breathing in, I feel I am water, very calm and clear. Breathing out, I know I am water reflecting. We breathe in and out 3 times. Okay, that was the 3rd pebble. Now there's one more pebble. What is the 4th pebble? Yes. Space. Wow, that's wonderful. So, can a pebble represent space? What is space? Yes? Yeah, space is all around us. Does it have a form? Does it have a shape? But we're giving space the shape of a pebble. And I tried to look for a pebble that I thought represented space. Maybe space on a foggy morning, a little bit gray and misty. So now with the 4th pebble, I put it in my hand. Then I put this hand on top of the other hand, and I sit up. I've been sitting up straight, like a tulip or a lotus flower, sitting up straight. Breathing in, I feel there is space deep inside of me. And when I have space inside of me, I feel free. There is space inside of me, and I feel free. How can I create space in me? Every time I breathe in and out, there's space in my lungs, right? Space to receive the air, yes. Space to let go of the air. So freedom comes sometimes with letting go. I feel space because I let go of my worries, of what upsets me. I let go. I feel there is space deep inside of me. I am free. We're free when we're happy, when we don't worry, when we're not angry or sad. But if we feel these emotions, we can go back to our pebbles and begin again. I'm a flower. I'm solid as a mountain. I'm water. I feel more space now. So this is meditating with the pebbles that tell us we have these wonderful qualities in us. Do you know, in a few weeks, many of you will be returning to school, is that right? 3 more weeks? 4 more weeks? You know, you can bring your pebbles to school. We remember that Thai suggested to children, young people, teenagers, adults, that you could have a pebble in your pocket. So for the young friends here, the first day of school, you can decide, what pebble do I want to be with today? Do I want to be fresh as a flower from my teacher? Do I want to be solid as a mountain when I meet new friends at school. I won't get upset or scared. Do I want to be calm like water? Do I want to give everyone space to be who they are? So, if you want, you can bring pebbles to school. And mommy or daddy can bring a pebble also the day that they have a very important board meeting. Important meeting at work, and you know, they want to be solid and fresh and calm. I recommended a pebble in your pocket. Put the pebble in your pocket, your hand around the pebble in your pocket, breathe and smile. Okay, that's for the grown-ups. College, young adults, teens. Or you can even have 4 pebbles. No one will mind. So pebbles are for all of us. And meditation is for all of us also. We can also bring the pebbles home with us and do it with the family. Thai has suggested that every apartment, every flat, every house, that you have a special little space where anyone in the family can go and sit there and breathe in and out and create peace in yourself. So you can do this at home, before school or after school. So we have many places, many times we can be with pebbles, reminding us of our wonderful qualities. You know, there is a special song composed for children at a retreat, and it's the song called Breathing In, Breathing Out. Shall we sing it together now? Breathing in, breathing out. And I believe it's the English language day, so we'll sing it in English, but it's in many languages now. Shall we sing breathing in, breathing out? And then after the song, our young friends, you may stand up, turn around, and you bow to the Sangha and your parents, and then you may leave the hall. Okay? So thank you for listening, and let us enjoy this wonderful song. Okay. And it has movements. Do we know the movements? Yeah? Okay. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I am blooming as a flower. I am fresh as the dew. I am solid as a mountain. I am firm as the earth. I am free. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I am water reflecting what is real, what is true. And I feel there is space deep inside of me. I am free, I am free, I am free. you so much. Enjoy your day today. And we look forward to seeing you again. We know that this is the last time before departure day tomorrow. And maybe some of you will be leaving tomorrow, but we look forward to seeing you again. Bon voyage. Have a safe trip. Dear respected Thai, dear brothers and sisters, dear friends, dear Sangha. Today is the 19th of July, the year 2018, and we are in the Stillwater Meditation Hall of the Upper Hamlet, and we are ending the second week of our summer retreat. We've had wonderful teachings during the past 2 weeks, teachings that are very helpful to us in our life as practitioners of mindfulness. We know that mindfulness has the capacity to bring us happiness, peace, stability, joy, compassion, many wonderful qualities. And the more we practice mindfulness, the more these qualities are strengthened. The more these seeds in our consciousness become stronger. It doesn't mean that happiness and joy and peace will always be there, because the Buddha in his wisdom knew that things change. Relationships change, we change, the seeds in our consciousness change, and with mindfulness we can recognize change. And we can always come back to our breathing. So that is why the first week we practiced together the 16 breathing exercises that the Buddha gave, which are found in the Anapanasati Sutra. The first Zen meditation master of Vietnam, whose name is Thang Hoi, he wrote a preface, an introduction to this very important sutra, the Sutra on the Full Awareness of Breathing. And he said, mindfulness of breathing is the great vehicle used by Buddhas who wish to help beings who are bobbing up and down and drowning in the ocean of suffering. Mindfulness of breathings can help all beings who are suffering. And he saw it as the great vehicle, the practice that is the most helpful to us. So we've been training ourselves every single day, many times a day, I'm sure, with the practice of stopping and breathing. Every breath counts. The in-breath and the out-breath. When we feel the in-breath and out-breath, which means we are aware and we are living in the present moment, when we experience our in-breath and out-breath, even one breath, that helps. So maybe you can reflect on the past 5 days, if you arrived on last Friday and now it is Thursday. Do you notice any difference in yourself? Perhaps yes, perhaps no. But what has made it easier to benefit from the practice of mindful breathing is that we have been doing it together as a Sangha, as a group of practitioners, a group of ordinary people. You've been interested in mindfulness, you've wanted to come, and here we are together. So we've been practicing mindful breathing together and creating a collective energy of mindfulness. While breathing, while walking, while sitting, while eating mindfully with our families. So doing it together has made it much easier. We know that there are some birds, maybe we could call them the wild geese. There are migratory birds. And in the fall and spring, they migrate to different climates. We hear them and we see them here. We notice the honking in the sky. We hear the honking. So we look up at the sky and we see that the geese are flying in a formation, a V formation. And because they are flying together, in that particular formation, it's much easier for them. The beating of the wings of each of the birds creates an updraft of air, and there's less resistance. So the flying is much easier. If we consider a drop of water in a river, the drop is part of the whole river and it's flowing. So when we practice together, it's a similar experience, much easier. So for that, I might as well share that we wish that all of you who have enjoyed your practice, that you will seek friends of mindfulness wherever you go next, okay? And knowing that practicing with others, the practice is enjoyable and it's much easier, and the energy is stronger of this collective energy of mindfulness. You can create a group of friends, or you can go on the website and check iamhome.org, and every country now more or less has their own website, almost every country. where you can find groups of practice, of friends who practice according to our tradition. And you may ask in your family sharing dinner tonight how you can locate these people if you wish. You may be part of another group, another spiritual group, and that's also a support for you. So you may consider keeping your spiritual roots and adding mindfulness practice to your spiritual roots. So mindfulness is something that we can practice for the rest of our life. Don't feel we have to have it all transformed after 1 week or 2 weeks. We've made steps on the path. And we have created a habit of walking mindfully, eating mindfully. And the more we do an activity, the more it can become a habit. So it's a very positive habit, a habit energy. And neuroscientists now are telling us that indeed, in the brain, there are neural pathways. And our thoughts, our speech, and our actions create these pathways. So if we have a habit that we would like to change, what we can do is create another habit that is different from the habit you want to change, assuming that habit brings you or others suffering. So mindfulness helps us be aware of what is happening in us and around us. We're aware of our feelings, our thoughts, our memories, how our body is. We're aware of so much that is happening in us, but also in people around us. One of the practices I love to do is to notice what flowers are blooming, especially in spring. So I look at the grass and I see little pacorets. And then I look at the trees, I listen to the birds, and finally I look at the sky. I look at what is below me, around me, and above me. And I look at the sky and I love to see the clouds. This morning I checked. No clouds. It's a beautiful blue summer sky, clear. But sometimes we have clouds. And the clouds have names according to what kind of cloud it is and how high up it is in the sky. And we know that sailors, navigators, the people who predict the weather for us, meteorologists, something like that, I think they also look at the clouds, because the clouds can predict the weather, more or less. Farmers look at the clouds as well. So clouds are formations. They are formed by elements. Moisture from the ocean, the sun, the heat, the cold air coming. Clouds are a formation. A formation is called a samskara. It's a Sanskrit word. There are physical formations, such as clouds, the table. A cushion is a physical formation. It's made from materials. There's a physiological formation. What's a physiological formation? has to do with the body. My body is a physiological formation. My heart is a physiological formation. My lungs, my liver, it has a function. But when we look at our mind, we also have formations, and these are called mental formations. We've heard the word already. Brother Vitality, when he gave the Dharma talk at New Hamlet in French, he drew a circle for the children, and he described the circle. And maybe I'll repeat the circle to talk a little bit more about mental formations this morning. The topics that have been chosen to talk about this morning are mental formations, habit energies, internal formations, also internal formations. And there were some written questions that there was not time to answer. So I will do my best to do all of that. Let us enjoy breathing as we listen to one sound of the bell. Can friends on this side of the room see the board? No. Okay, let's move the board a little bit. Okay, so maybe that is it better? Or perhaps you'll see it on the screen. Maybe that's the best solution. There are screens. So, a Vietnamese Zen master said, our practice becomes easier when we understand our mind. Our practice becomes easy when we understand our mind. So this morning we'll spend some time by understanding our mind a little bit more. To understand our mind takes time, takes practice. So what I offer today, I see as a beginning, okay? Just an introduction. There's some wonderful books of Thais, Dharma talks of Thais, available on YouTube. So to continue your understanding of the mind, then these resources are available for you. So we remember the model of the mind, a circle. And our mind, we have our sense organs. Remember that? And the sense organs influence our mind. Okay? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and our body. So the body The mind has different layers or different consciousnesses. The deepest layer is called the store consciousness, where everything is stored. It's also known as the alaya. Alaya consciousness. And in the deepest level of our mind, there are seeds. The Sanskrit word is bija. There are all kinds of seeds, 51 as a matter, but more, maybe more than 51 seeds. So let's make some little seeds. And Brother Vitality said that these seeds, they are sleeping. They stay there in a dormant, latent state. We have wholesome seeds and then unwholesome seeds. So I'll just draw some of these seeds representing, okay? Wholesome. What shall be the wholesome seeds? Oh, why not compassion? Okay. Compassion is when you see someone suffering, you want to help that person. It's a good quality to develop. Compassion. We have the seed of mindfulness, and that's how it's possible that we're practicing the seed of mindfulness. Seed of happiness. The seed of peace. Okay, now there's some unwholesome seeds, okay. Maybe jealousy. Anger. Or hatred. Anger can become hatred if it's not taken care of and transformed. Fear. Discrimination. So what happens, I think you may know this already, we receive sensory impressions from the environment all the time. All the time. Our ears remain open. We can close our eyes, our ears remain open, but we're always receiving sensory impressions. So, let's say we hear someone speak kindly to us, with a kind voice, with a smile. So what does that do? We receive the impression, we see the smile, okay. It can go down and water and touch a seed in store consciousness. We hear the sweet voice, the kind words. Well, okay, wow. Chances are I'll feel happy. The smile, the kind words can touch the seed in my store consciousness of happiness. I said that these seeds are sleeping. They're seeds. But when they receive a stimulus, something that's strong enough, if the word is too soft and I can't hear it, it doesn't wake up the seed. Something from the environment will stimulate and wake up a seed in the depths of my consciousness. And then what will happen? This seed called happiness will manifest, will come up. Because it has been watered, it has been nourished, it has been stimulated, it has been activated. Many words can describe this process. When a seed manifests so that we recognize it, it is called a mental formation. Okay? A mental formation. So this is the mental formation of happiness. And let's see what will happen now with other seeds. If we see someone and hear someone, but their words are not kind, and they're angry, and they're not smiling, okay, the stimulus comes through the sense organs. So the sense organs only receive, they don't judge, it's none of that. They simply receive. Okay, so now, second case, we've seen someone and they're not smiling, they're pretty angry. Wow, okay. Maybe we've had experiences with someone being angry, and maybe what that does, it touches our fear. Or it could touch our seed of anger also. Okay, so we've seen someone not smiling, we've heard the words, not too kind. It can touch our seed of fear, but also anger and other seeds. Anxiety, sadness. Sadness is also a seed. Okay, so when the seeds, these other seeds are watered, triggered, activated, they will also manifest in our mind. Maybe not so happy. As a mental formation. So maybe fear is the mental formation. So we understand now how we can experience emotions. It's through the environment, through the words and actions of people, events. Our senses transmit the input to the consciousness. So how do we practice? So we know that mindfulness is a good friend. Whenever a seed manifests on the level of the mind, two things happen. The happiness is strengthened at the base. It becomes bigger and stronger. That's why in our practice we want to invite very positive experiences, positive seeds to come up. That's why we sing. To create these seeds of happiness in our mind, in the present moment, but also to strengthen them. Another thing we want to do is to invite the seed of mindfulness to be present so we know what emotion we're feeling. Okay, we can invite mindfulness to come and let us know what we're feeling. Invite the seed of mindfulness. Mindfulness will also help strengthen that seed. These are the positive seeds. When we come to the unwholesome seed, the seed of suffering, we could call these the seeds of suffering. We have seeds of happiness and seeds of suffering. When these seeds manifest, they will also be strengthened in the depths of our consciousness. So we know this is the practice of right diligence, not to let the seeds of suffering be watered too much. When they manifest in the mind, consciousness, we recognize them with the seed of mindfulness. So mindfulness likes to help everyone, no matter when. We invite the seed of mindfulness now to come and embrace the seed of suffering. The mindfulness will let us know, oh, right now I feel frightened. Breathing in, I know I feel scared. Breathing out, it's okay. We've heard that yesterday in the wonderful panel. We let those seeds be there. We accept it, we embrace it with mindfulness. Mindfulness has the capacity to reduce the strength of an unwholesome seed, so that the seed will be transformed and become a lesser energy. But we know whenever the seed manifests from the depth of our consciousness, it is always strengthened at the base. And that is why Thai taught that when we are angry, we don't hit the pillow, because we're strengthening the anger. We're acting violently. Instead, we do another thing. We bring up our mindfulness to let us know, okay, now I feel angry. Breathing in, breathing out, I take care of this energy. I practice mindful walking, not thinking, just breathing. I take care of these seeds of suffering with the practice of mindfulness. And gradually they become less strong. They become smaller. Let us have a pause now by listening to the sound of the bell and enjoying our breathing. So we know that any seed that has a chance to manifest in the level of our mind, any seed will be strengthened. So one of the keys to our practice as practitioners is to bring up more positive seeds than the negative seeds. I'd like to share with you a practice I do every morning because I really want to strengthen my mindfulness practice. I want my seed of mindfulness to become stronger than my habit energies. We'll get to that. I want my mindfulness to be stronger than my tendencies to create suffering. So the first thing I do every morning, before I get out of bed, when we say the gatha for waking up, I sit up in bed and I turn on, we say, démarrer le moteur. I begin my mindfulness engine, something. And the way I do it is I breathe in and out 10 times. And it's before my feet have touched the floor. I begin right away. I don't waste a minute. And then that energy is woken up. Maybe these seeds like to sleep a long, long time. Maybe my mindfulness wants to sleep till 10 a.m. Oh boy, it's too late. I need you before 10 a.m., dear mindfulness. So I don't give it a chance to oversleep. It doesn't have a lazy day. I wake up mindfulness right away. And then I invite positive seeds to come in. If there's been some difficulty in relationships or suffering and misperception and I've made mistakes, all of this occurs in daily life. All of these potential situations that can create suffering. So, right away, after the 10 breaths, I begin to invite the seeds of compassion and peace and sending love to these difficult situations, to the difficulties in myself and in other people. And there is the metta meditation, which maybe some of you know, and perhaps we'll learn more about it next week. The theme for next week is the different kinds of love. Reverence and respect and love between parents and their children. And then Sister Nghiêm, Sister Gina will talk on the 4 unlimited minds. The 4 kinds of love that the Buddha offered so that there wouldn't be suffering in love. But to come back to how I wake up the best seeds as soon as possible, I start my mindfulness breathing. I send the energy of love and compassion to people in difficulty, and that includes myself. So we know we live in a sangha. All of you are living with others, maybe a family. There may be difficulties at work, relationship challenges. So I found that it helps. The degree to which it helps others, I can't measure. But I know it has helped me, because I put my mind in a very positive place every morning as soon as possible, before my habit energies start knocking at the door, saying, complaining, or whatever I find wrong, criticizing, all that. I don't give them a chance, because I nourish the mind consciousness with mindfulness and good thoughts. So, that's a practice I do, and I don't know if you want to try it. Up to you. We know mindfulness has many functions. One of the functions is to recognize, and we do that with the practice of bare attention. We just notice, that's it. We say, I see this is happening. I see this is happening. I hear these words. I smell the fragrant lotus. Okay? So, we're able to notice and have bare attention with our sense organs. I feel the cool summer breeze. I smell the cookies the children are making, the bread that is baking. I feel the soft hand of a child while walking. Okay? These are the sense organs that strengthen our mindfulness. Okay. Recognition, second function, acceptance. So we say when anger is there, okay, I see you are there. I know you are there, my anger. I know you are there, my fear. Hello. Good morning. Hello, my sadness. Bonjour, ma tristesse. My old friend. Third step, mindfulness. Now we use this energy to actually embrace what's happening. If it's not too awful, it's easier to embrace. It's a small irritation. Okay, I embrace it. If it's a bigger suffering, that has happened over and over again, and we say, I have to embrace you. Okay, I embrace you. The embracing becomes easier the more we understand. So, to understand, we need to look deeply. And for that, there is preparation, calming the mind. So we have mindfulness, and concentration will help us look deeply to understand. Mindfulness and concentration are there when we practice mindful breathing in and out. We concentrate only on the experience of breathing in and out. The concentration will lead to understanding because the mind isn't wandering around. It stays with the breathing. It can see more clearly. Okay, I understand more. My mindful breathing, my concentration helps me understand. Understanding is also discovering the causes, why this has happened. So I can find out the causes in myself a little bit easier than with other people. So I try to find the cause in myself. Maybe I didn't get enough sleep. I'm tired. Under stress, what are some of the causes that we have in our daily life? Well, I don't want to make everyone upset, but think of the causes in your life that lead to unhappiness. Okay, so we look. When we can find some causes, then it's easier to embrace. Okay? With the embracing and accepting and say, okay, I made a mistake, he made a mistake, she made a mistake. Okay, we have the practice, then we know beginning anew. We all know about that wonderful healing, transforming, reconciling practice. Mindfulness will also help us heal. Okay, so we're going to be able to heal the suffering by not nourishing it. We're not going to feed those unwholesome seeds of anger. We're going to stop criticizing, blaming, thinking about that person, that situation. Let go of the story. Come back to the present moment and nourish ourselves with the beauty, with the breathing, with the walking. And Thai recommended in the beginning of our practice, when our mindfulness energy is not too strong yet, he said, please do not dig up your suffering. Don't think about it too much. What we need now, in the beginning, when there's suffering and our mindfulness is a little bit wobbly, please be with more nourishing and beautiful, healthy elements to nourish you. Okay, good friends, nice people. Be with mindfulness people. Walk in nature. Okay, go hiking. If you're lonely, don't be alone too much, because those memories will come back. So, we can heal with mindfulness. We know something's happening. Oh, I feel unpleasant. Something's not right. You don't have to name it. You don't have to have the word yet. But we can begin practicing right away. I don't feel that everything is okay. All right, I can transform it. How do I transform? 2 basic practices. And that's the mindful breathing, relaxing, walking, calming. Try not to consume at this point, because sometimes we have a habit energy to want to consume. Whatever it is, we reach for it. It could be our device. It could be we go to the refrigerator. It's up to you to name what is your consumption, maybe, if you suffer. So, the Buddha said, once we know how something has come to be, we found what has nourished it, what has started it, what feeds it. Once we know how it has come to be, we are already on the path of transformation. So the second noble truth is wonderful. That's finding the causes. And if we can just get a hint, maybe this is a cause, then we can ask people, were you upset the other day? Because we think something isn't right. Were you upset the other day? Maybe the other person will say, yes, I was. Or maybe the other person will say, oh no, not at all. But you see, yeah, they're responding in a way that makes me think perhaps they are upset. So we wait. We can wait a day or 2 or longer. Or if we feel upset and someone comes up and says, are you upset? We can be honest and say, yes, I feel upset and I don't feel strong enough right now to talk about it. I don't feel ready. I don't feel my mindfulness is strong enough. Maybe the degree of the suffering is a little bit too strong. So we can wait and take care of ourselves and have compassion. Let us have another enjoyable pause for breathing. So, dear friends, we've spent some time to describe the mind and the seeds that are there and how they can manifest as emotions. I'd like to talk about habit energies. So, it is said that the habit energies are seeds that are stored in the alaya, store consciousness. And they've been transmitted to us by our ancestors. The beginning is ancestors, but they're also developed in our growing up, our environment, our experiences, at school, at work, relationships. We should also say that all the seeds are stored in alaya, and new seeds are planted in our daily experience. All the experiences of our ancestors are also stored in alaya, the depth of our consciousness. So the habit energies such as our talent in music, our art, writing, gardening, cooking, these we receive from our ancestors. And then we can say there are wonderful habit energies we receive from our ancestors. There have also been other habit energies that we've received that have been transmitted to us. And these are the habit energies of suffering of our ancestors. The suffering from the wars, from discrimination, from famine, from alcoholism, from addictions to drugs, reaction, anger is a habit energy, violence, you see? So these behaviors of body, speech, and mind we can call habit energies. They're possible, we can transform them, certainly possible. And this is the good news. We can transform the habit energies that bring suffering with our mindfulness practice, and also with the practice of touching the earth that Sister Chung Hung has guided all of us in during this retreat. And the book is available, Conversations with the Buddha, Intimate Conversations of the Buddha, to guide us with deeper understanding and how to transform some of these habit energies. And we can create better and new habit energies. So let's see what some of these could be. The 5 mindfulness trainings, of course. Do you know they cover many important areas of our daily life? And each one begins with the phrase, aware of suffering caused by, okay? There are causes of suffering, always more than one. By the coming together of causes, there is suffering. So each mindfulness training gives us ways to practice, to transform whatever habit energy we have related to the 5 trainings. If we have a habit energy of violence and hurting, the first training will help us protecting reverence for life. We have another habit energy where we can't find what is good. We exploit people, we criticize, we don't see happiness. The second one will help us. We have enough conditions for happiness. The third one, about intimate relationships and the suffering that can be caused by sexual misconduct. The third training helps us immensely to protect children from sexual abuse and to protect the integrity of couples already in couple relationships, to protect the integrity of marriages and committed relationships. So we may have a habit energy that involves the third mindfulness training, The third mindfulness training will help us. The fourth mindfulness training, suffering caused by speech that hurts people's feelings. And it also means, loving speech, but listening. We need to be able to listen as much as possible when we're not suffering too much. Okay, so fourth mindfulness training helps us with communication habit energies, and the fifth one, consumption, for a healthy and healing of our body and mind. So the fifth mindfulness training gives us ways to practice if we want to consume as a habit energy, alcohol, drugs, TV, internet, whatever. It gives us other ways to practice. Habit energies bring suffering in relationships, of course. So we've learned the practice of beginning anew. And this practice is very healing. It's for reconciling, of course. And it's most effective if we begin by flower watering. Okay, we mentioned the very positive qualities that we all have. Help that person recognize their good qualities. Water those good qualities in the other person so their happiness, their peace, their compassion can manifest before the beginning anew session begins. Okay? So we don't begin by talking about our suffering. We don't come into the ring punching with words. We begin with flower watering and appreciation. And then whatever is shared will be easier to receive. There won't be a block. There won't be the embargo, the wall. Because you've watered the goodness, the trust in the other person. That they will be able to trust you to speak in a way that won't hurt them more. So this is really a wonderful area for all of us to continue to practice. It takes time. All of this takes time and patience on our part and our people with whom we're in relationships with. So, habit energies, good habit energies, okay. This is now to bring more happiness to planet Earth. Instead of using our car, one person, one car, carpooling, bicycle, take the public transport. We're protecting Mother Earth, reducing the suffering at the level of this planet, reducing the carbon footprint. Reduce, recycle, reuse. See what is going right. We develop a habit energy of seeing the positive, the sunshine. Smiling. Even if we don't feel like smiling, we smile. Thai related his experience during the war, which is probably the worst experience anyone can have, ever. And it still continues in parts of the world. So Thai told us that at night, after witnessing a lot of suffering, like killing, whatever, he would, in the dark, sit up and smile to himself. And he said he would not let anyone else see him smiling because they might have thought he was crazy. But we don't have to be crazy to smile. And maybe it helps us from becoming crazy if we can smile. Okay, so even if we don't feel like smiling, the smiling can be the source of our joy And our joy can be the source of our smile. Thai said that. And he said it's mouth yoga. So let your mouth exercise silently. It's noble silence practice, smiling. Okay, so if some of these habit energies are not transformed, particularly the ones that related to creating suffering in others with our speech, our actions, they can become internal formations, and these are called samyojana noiket. It's described as a knot, something very tight in us. It has two forms. And there's one that we could say is more or less a bitter form of this knot in our heart. We could say we have an aversion to someone or something, or a grudge, a resentment. We blame, even we want to get revenge. We can see this on the level of some countries even, it's experienced on many levels. It could be based on fear, anger, childhood trauma, adulthood trauma, violence, of what people say and do to us or what we've witnessed. So the feelings associated with this kind of internal formation or the knot, these feelings are unpleasant. Now, whether we develop this knot in us or not depends on how we receive the impression. So everything is received through the sense organs, everything, whatever. If there's some understanding of what happened, then the knot may not be so tight. Now, sometimes people are afraid. We're afraid of someone, but there's no reason. Maybe this person reminds you of someone that made you scared as a child. The way they speak, their behavior. If you grew up in a family where there was a lot of anger and judging and criticism that resulted in violence and hitting, well, if someone 40 years later speaks to you in the same similar way, has to be similar enough to wake up that early experience, then we might have an internal formation with this person. We run away, we swoop. So it depends. If we can recognize this unpleasant feeling early enough, we can untie it more easily because we can have understanding. But all knots can be untied. That's the good news. With our practice, with patience, with compassion. I thought a knot was a little bit like being caught in a traffic jam. You're in your car, there are cars everywhere, and you can't move. Can't go forward or backward, nowhere. We're stuck. So internal formations take away our freedom. We're not free anymore because we're really trapped with this fear, this anger, this aversion. So that's one aspect of anatta. There's also a sweet internal formation. What do you think that is? So you have contact with something. It can be a glass of wine, or a cigarette, or a sweet person. So kind, so sweet, so loving, so intelligent, so polite, there's something deep in us that, we're needing something, but we don't know that. It's all hidden. It's all hidden in store consciousness. You're lacking something. Maybe Father wasn't there for you, and you kind of want to find him. Or Mother wasn't there. You kind of want to find someone who's like Mom. Okay, so we meet such a person. Or the glass of wine when we're suffering. What is produced? A pleasant feeling is produced. And then we want to repeat it. We want to have that pleasant feeling again and again and again. So they're attachment. Attachment. Can we eat one potato chip? Can you? Can you eat one cashew nut? Wow. One hazelnut? I've tried, but not able. So you continue to consume even when you know it's not good for you. The alcohol isn't good, the cigarette smoking not good. But there's been a change in the body chemistry, an addiction. So we can change it with our practice of mindfulness. There is one other sweet formation that I dare not talk about and tell you, but I have to because it's in the book. It's in the book called Understanding Our Mind, and the book on the Satipatthana Sutra on internal formations, and it's called Falling in Love. Do you believe that? Maybe one person here has fallen in love. One person. One person? Maybe two? Three? More than that. So it happens, doesn't it? Yeah. I don't know how many, but so maybe you are the people that will not want me to say this. Falling in love is an internal formation. It's a knot. Depends, doesn't it? Depends on the situation and what happened. Sometimes it takes the form gradually. Everything changes, love changes. Everything's going to change. There's the beginning. Wonderful, maybe. But then things change, okay? We feel an attachment. We feel an exclusive relationship. This person can't be with anyone else, I'll get jealous. Clinging, possessiveness. Wow, we're pushed, we're propelled to have contact all the time. The result, we lose our freedom. So, for that reason, Thai has described it as a knot. But these things can't be scheduled. These meetings aren't scheduled. You don't say, okay, Monday morning at 9 o'clock, I'll fall in love. Not like that. I guess all of you can share afterwards. We don't have another Dharma discussion, but when you go home, or whatever. So Thai has described it as losing our freedom. And Thai knows. How does Thai know? It happened to him. He fell in love with a nun when he was young. And there's a book about it. I wrote the book. But Thai was able to use this energy of love to turn it into the mind of love, which is the mind of a bodhisattva, wanting to help many people. So instead of one love, unique, possessive, exclusive love, this love was transformed into the four unlimited love, which is loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. We'll learn more about that next week. And if you want to extend your stay, you can learn more. But this is a book called Cultivating the Mind of Love. And Thai tells the story. He was a young monk, and his bodhicitta was strong. And this is what was so wonderful. He wanted to renew Buddhism. He wanted to help his country, his Vietnamese people, wanted to end the war, bring peace. So he had a deep aspiration. And then this accident happened. He calls it accident. When it happens to monastics, it's called accident. And the only way monastics know about it, how do we know about it? Is from you, and you come and you ask for a consultation. And then we learn all about it. Wow. So what supported Thai were his brother monks and his aspiration. And Sukho Changkang's book also is about bodhicitta. The mind of true love, learning true love. So we go on the path from where we are to a much bigger path of helping the world. So for this, if we have had an accident or whatever, it's not horribly negative. There are good parts, and that's why we want to stay in the relationship. It's like a magnet. You have a magnet, two magnets with the positive and negative poles, right? And you put the right poles together and whoop, and it's hard to get them apart. It's like a magnet. So we need a good environment of kindness, good spiritual friends, people we can trust with this, our sharing, people who understand, accept, and love us. Please don't share with anyone if you don't feel their response would be positive for you, because it can make you feel worse. So we invite our mindfulness to be there, always, always. We read the third mindfulness training, okay, a lot. And then we nourish all wholesome seeds. Okay, so we channel our energies to helping others. Okay, so I've taken a lot of time. I really have a few more questions, and I don't know if I should end now. What time do I end? There were some questions that the wonderful panel left for me to answer. Okay, so one was about, I'll do it quickly, okay, it won't take long. Can you talk about emotions which are based on concepts and how these concepts affect us, affect man. So, what is a concept or a notion that can affect our emotions? So I thought, Chai always ends the last Dharma talk of the week by talking about our fear of death. So maybe I'll go over that very quickly. He would use a whole Dharma talk, but now I'll just draw a picture. Don't know. So yes, the fear of death is there. It's deep in the depths of the consciousness. We want to survive. So when facing death, we can be very frightened of what will come after. If we're practitioners, we can offer our support to those who are dying or very ill with our presence, our stability, our calm, our acceptance. So, okay. Point B, we sometimes consider, is when we are born. The moment we are born. This is our birth. Point D is considered our death. The moment we die. And in between our birth and our death, we live. That's being, right? And if we believe that this is being, that's all there is, then before we were born, non-being, I wasn't there. After I die, again, non-being, I won't be there. Nothing will continue. So there's fear if we think in that way. Fear and sadness. So these concepts of birth and death can influence our emotions of fear. If we believe that before birth there was nothing, and if we believe that after death there is nothing. But in Buddhism we believe in continuation, manifestation, continuing in many forms. So, let us have a look at this. I'm going to try something. I don't know if it will be accepted or if the thinking is logical. But let's look at this. You've been in Plum Village, haven't you? 1 or 2 weeks? This has been... You've been here in Plum Village. You've had your experience of being in Plum Village. You're in Plum Village. Okay, I'm here. We're alive. We're alive. We live in the present moment. But before Plum Village, wow, you were somewhere, weren't you? I mean, you were. You existed. After Plum Village, you're still going to be alive, right? Yes, of course, we survive. So, we'll survive separation. So before Plum Village, there was life for you. After Plum Village, life continues. And if you feel very, very sad, I'll tell you something Tai once said in a Dharma talk. If you take off from Charles de Gaulle in Paris in the airplane and you go to Boston, he said, if you continue your flight from Boston, you'll come back to Charles de Gaulle because the earth is round. So if you leave, you're actually on your way back. Nice. So maybe we'll end with that. So, yeah, thank you, dear friends, for your listening. I brought another book. It's not to sell the books, no. But sometimes you go to the bookshop and you want to know which book is going to be helpful, which book will be good for my friend, my mother, my father. So there's more on internal formations, mental formations, internal formations, habit, and it's all in the book. It's about consciousness, understanding our mind. A lot is in this book. So if you are a psychologist and you want to go deeper into understanding the mind, I think this would be a good book. You flip through it before buying. Okay, and then this is a wonderful book for gathas. A wonderful book to help us know what we're doing. Little poems. So beautiful. Forgetfulness is the darkness. Mindfulness is the light. I bring awareness back to shine upon all life. It's a beautiful little book of poems. So with that, dear friends, we thank you for your practice this week with us, 2 weeks. A happy continuation if you stay longer. And bon voyage if you leave. And we'll see you again, we hope. Thank you.